We can talk about traditional markets as well because I have that up just to see how things are going there. Looks like, holy Christ.
What happened?
That can't be right.
What happened?
I literally, if that's right, that's insane. Because I literally, what are we at? 10:08? I literally jumped on here at 10:03. And the Dow was down 43 points. It's down 657 points right now.
No way.
Yeah.
What's
So I'm wondering if something happened or if my screen didn't refresh. Nasdaq's down 281. S&P's down 72.
holy?
It's a huge
shit.
sell-off on Wall Street right now. That's almost 2% across the board. S&P a 1.5.
That's
Nasdaq 1.8. Dow 1. Holy crap!
2%.
Wow, you just got that reaction in real time. That's a bloodbath on
Yeah,
Wall Street.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
that was
bloodbath.
tough. People are panicking on that. Yeah.
I'm thinking if my screen did not refresh, something happened. So I'm gonna divert
I
to
can
you.
do some research.
I'll divert to you, and then I'm just gonna look real quick because I have Twitter up
Okay.
already, and I'm just
Awesome.
gonna see if I can find something that happened that would.
I think CNN just reported that the GDP showed a U.S. economic growth slowed to 1.6.
That would be it.
Wow.
That would be it. That happened. That literally just happened in real time.
Yeah.
Because I literally was looking. I got the screen up, and we were at minus like 46, 49 points. And then I went to the screen just now, and it's down 663. Holy shit! That's
It's good we caught that on.
you're catching this in real. This is real
time reactions.
Real time reactions. Yeah, because I was genuinely stunned when I saw that.
What do you think they're gonna have to do? What's their?
Well, I wanna let's jump right into because I think this probably I was honestly surprised that it didn't open lower than the 49 that I saw at 10:03 because of this news. So let's jump right into what Biden is proposing. Let me get to that screen.
Wow.
So
That's nice.
actually, I don't have that one up. That's crazy of all the screens. Oh, yeah, I do. Right there. Okay, I'm sorry. So, President Biden has proposed a 44.6% capital gains tax, the highest rate since its creation in 1922, as part of his 2025 budget. The proposal is income tested, applying to those earning over $1 million, and aims to increase tax revenue from high income earners. The budget also includes a 25% tax. This is important. A 25% tax on unrealized capital gains for high net worth individuals and raises the top tax rate on capital gains to 49.9%. The proposal has sparked significant discussion, with some expressing concerns about its potential impact on wealth accumulation for lower and middle income class families, while others argue it could discourage investment and negatively affect economic growth.
So,
and the tweet that I got this from, he tweeted that 44.6% capital gains tax, complete insanity. This is why you hold superior assets and never sell #Bitcoin. So what Biden, now again, this isn't the first time that this has been tossed around by Democrats, talking about increasing the capital gains or taxing unrealized gains. I don't think, honestly and truly, I just don't think that you're ever going to see unrealized gains taxed. And that's because Democrats hold investments as well, and everybody would have to fall victim to that. And I just don't think there's going to be enough of those rich-ass Democrats that are going to sign off on that. Because in that scenario, let's say you have a $10 million portfolio, and your $10 million portfolio goes up 20%, and you see a $2 million gain, but you didn't sell. So now you owe taxes on $2 million that you never realized, and then the next year it goes down $5 million. They're not giving you your money back. Now you not only did you pay for the previous year, but you also just lost $5 million. So you actually saw nothing, and you're just giving money away, and it just decimates wealth.
So I have a question real quick, because that's clown world. But
100%.
But why? What's the goal of that? Like, why have that proposal, and it's just obviously idiotic, right? Like,
yes.
And it's most likely, I'm 99% sure it'll never go through.
Because voters are idiotic.
So What's the goal of that? 'Cause I've heard
Voters
that
are
multiple-
voters are moronic. The current voter in this country is an idiot
Yeah.
on both sides.
But like, I just don't get like the goal of that, right? Because like, are they trying to scare, like, especially with elections, like Biden's proposing that? Obviously, that's gonna. I mean, I'm not saying that's a direct correlation why the market's selling off today, but that's just negative. You know what I mean? I don't see why that's like even something you'd even like propose. You know?
Because
And it's 25%.
the left has gone far left.
Yeah.
And this is far left propaganda. This is what they want to do. This is the scare taxes. This shows that they're going after the rich scary guy that's doing all these scary things. And like I said, the Democrat voter is a moron, is an idiot, because they don't realize that the people that create the GDP in this country are the rich business owners that create the jobs. Some poor asshole living in the country isn't creating jobs. Right? The guy that owns the corporation, that's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, he hires hundreds of thousands of people. So that rich asshole, if it's not for him, then those hundreds of thousands of people have jobs. Now, we can have a conversation. We can have a conversation about those rich assholes, because there's problems with them too, and there's also problems with the people that vote on that extreme side too. Like, I'm not defending that either. But when you go after the people that create the jobs in this country, you go after the country.
And where are those jobs going to go? They're going to go overseas. They're stifling innovation in America. So it's just like it's just idiotic.
You can't keep taking more and more of people's wealth and expect good things to happen.
Yeah.
You can't tax. I don't care what anybody feels, but like for me, you're never going to get me off the taxation is theft ledge ever. You're never going to and I say this from the top of the food chain to the bottom of the food chain. If I get up in the morning and I go give up 8 hours of my day away from my family, the people that I love and I care about, and I earn, and I have to give up some of that to these assholes in Washington, that invigorates me. Invigorates me. And again, I don't give a shit, because I just don't, because this is just the type of person I am. Like, I always clap and applaud the people that like when I see them getting arrested for their IRS ducking and dodging. It's like, God bless it. You tried. You didn't make it, but you know that they're robbing from you, right? You know that they're robbing from you, because you're getting arrested for doing what they do to you on your paycheck, basically.
And just a disclaimer: we are not advising people to beat the system.
Not advising you. You should follow your tax codes and your tax laws. But I'm just saying, like, at some point, enough is enough. Yeah. Because the problem is okay, we were okay with income tax. Income taxes started out low. And it was like, okay, we're doing our part to take care of society. Yeah. And it made sense at the beginning. And now it just keeps going up and up and up and up. And now you're looking at your paycheck and you're giving more away than you're keeping. And it's like, wait a minute, something's not right. Yeah. This has gotten completely out of control. So now I'm using my smart. They teach you to get educated, be smart, learn things, right? So now if I'm a little bit more educated than the next guy and I use that to gain more money, now because I'm smart, I'm being penalized and I have to give more away because of that. Because I'm not working a job making $30,000 a year. If I'm a guy that's able to make $2 million a year, now I have to give up $1.2 million of that, and I get to keep $800,000 of my like. This is insane. It's complete insanity. Yeah. Complete insanity. Nothing anybody can say that's pro-tax will ever resonate with me.
I know Mark Cuban just paid $122 million in taxes. Did you see that?
Yeah. No, I don't really try to get in other people's pockets.
Yeah,
I just tweeted it's yeah, no, I get it, but like it's just here's the thing with taxes.
What did you say the cutoff was
for this?
Unrealized capital gains tax for those investments.
25% tax on unrealized capital gains for high net worth individuals, and they're considering high net worth as 1 million. 1 million. So that's where, but that's not where it starts. But that's not where it starts.
My question is real quick, and again, I apologize for not having my mic hooked up. If you don't have a pension and your investments are you're building your pension, most people say you need to save $1 to $3 million, right? That's what they say, and that would mean that the average guy who doesn't have a pension is investing in stock or whatever. He's going to get hit by that, right?
They don't have a set framework for this yet, because the concern is like you're still going to get people putting money away in their 401ks, right? So like it's tax. It's not tax. It's not tax never. It's taxed later.
Right.
So it's still going to be taxed. So how are we going to look
They're
at
gonna
something?
get taxed, they're going to get a lot higher tax on that money. Because
Yeah.
They're going to hit that amount.
100%.
So that whatever you saved isn't going to be enough. because
100%.
you just got taxed more.
I need-
100%.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my passport to come in, and I'm.
Man, I keep
just
saying
opened.
it.
I just opened.
Okay, stop.
I keep saying it every week. I keep saying it every week, man. Like the best thing that we can do this election cycle, the best thing we can do is unite and not show up and vote. If we get these same two, we already know what it looks like with Trump. We already know what it looks like with Biden, and it sucks with both of them. I don't care what anybody says. There's good qualities of what some of the policies that Trump may have done, and you may even feel like there's some good things that Biden has done potentially. But the overall body of work of both of these morons is not what we need in this country. And I don't want an 80-year-old running the country. So
It's coming to like, it seems like he's trying to steal as much money as he can to buy votes from the masses and the imported. That's literally what it seems like. That could be his game plan. You never know people's.
let's pivot to this because this is important too, and this kind of pivots to another related conversation. Oliver Velez, awesome Bitcoiner to follow, dynamite. He'll run spaces where he just talks the entire time in the spaces, and he's just educating in the spaces. Really good follow if you're not already following him. U.S. debt is exploding. $1 trillion every 100 days, the fastest in history. The interest on the debt is expanding $1 trillion every year, something the world has never seen. You are thought of as stupid. The majority still thinks Bitcoin, the only safety from this is a scam. So why not blatantly lie to you bozos? And he's got Biden speaking last night saying with a straight face, I cut the national debt so far in his presidency. Like, I don't know how you defend that.
Yeah.
All you have to do is like go online and look at the national debt and see that no president since Clinton has cut the national debt.
Well,
so that Trump can't say that, Bush can't say that, Obama can't say, like, you can't say, like, it literally can't be said by any of the presidents in the last 2.5 decades. And so why would you go and say I've cut the national debt? And the problem is, again, the problem is some of these assholes that will vote for him believe it.
Do you think? Yeah, exactly. You think his voters are actually hopping on a computer and looking at the national debt? No,
of course not. They just say, "Oh, well, Biden is cutting the debt," and they'll try to explain some like cockamamie like math that makes no sense, that doesn't math, and say that he's done it.
Yeah. And then
and
you'll
you can
have
just
the mass
literally
media.
look. You can just literally look, go back 100 days, which would take us to sometime in January, and see that they've added $1 trillion since just then.
We might actually get canceled.
It's just frustrating, man. It's just I can't believe that we're living in this age of just like mass money printing, and both sides are doing nothing to stop it.
I genuinely think like everyone should be getting a passport, because it's going to be harder to get passports in the next couple of months. I really genuinely believe that. So like the thing is, like, everyone should be looking into getting a passport and taking it seriously, because if this actually, like, if we have a bad election year, like, we are screwed, right? Innovation in America is dead. So make this a goal by the end of the year, is to get a passport as soon as possible, guys. Like, I can't stress that enough. It's going to get worse. I genuinely believe that. It's not for clicks. This is something you have to take serious. Diversify your investments, but diversify your citizenships, right? Don't solely rely on one investment. Don't solely rely on one country. And have that freedom, because people invest because they want financial freedom. But there's also location freedom. So if you're able to get that passport, you'll have location freedom, and you'll be able to go wherever you want. And that's one of the big messages I have today, is just get that passport.
If I was single, no kids, it was just me, I'd be in El Salvador right now.
Yeah.
That's where I would go.
Yeah.
That's where I would go.
Like I already told you, I am going to Colombia and Medellin for a couple of months just to see how it is, and Airbnb down there. But I am.
I would go to El Salvador. You're just not. You haven't converted me into
totally
a Bitcoin converted you to. I haven't converted you 100% to the maxi.
Yeah,
so once this cycle's over and I finally completely convert you, maybe you'll go to El Salvador, and then you give me a reason to go down there and visit.
But I don't want to spend my Bitcoin, right?
So let's look at this tweet here by Joe Carlacer. I can't never say his last name, but he's a dynamite follow on Twitter. Highest yield on the 10-year Treasury since last November. So the 10-year Treasury is going up higher. And while you were speaking, I also went on. I'm on the gold site. Gold is at 23.23 right now as well. So gold's holding above. Gold holding above 2,300.
Is Peter Schiff right?
Bitcoin, since we've got on, it's up $200. Is at 63.7. Moving up a little bit while the stocks continue to sell off.
I'm so glad I'm out of stocks, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, it's wild. So another thing along the lines of gold, I saw this tweet this morning. It says, it quote tweets, "Tell me how gold is a scarce asset." Apparently, there's a volcano in Antarctica that is spewing $6,000 worth of gold dust on a daily basis.
Wow. Not so scarce after all.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know the true scarcity of gold.
Yeah.
There's just so much, and this is why Bitcoin. This is one of the reasons why Bitcoin is just that great of a financial tool, because it allows us the transparency to know exactly what we're dealing with. With gold, like like when gold prices go up, we mine more gold. Like more gold comes out of the ground. So like you think it's scarce because you're not in the ground looking to see how much there is. You only know what the gold market tells you that there is. Mm-hmm. I'm not a gold miner. Like, I don't know. I go on what the information I'm seeing. I don't need to be a Bitcoiner to jump on the blockchain and see how much Bitcoin there is and to see how much is being traded. I don't need to know nothing about anything to be able to see that, because it's all transparent.
And that's one of their biggest value propositions is its scarce aspect. And that's
utility, the utility that it's using, when the utility really doesn't make up. We've talked about that in previous podcasts. Like, the utility doesn't make up the nearly as much of the price as people want to tell you that it does.
How many Bitcoins are there?
21 million.
21 million. Join the 21 million club.
Another thing, I don't know if you saw this. I didn't see it until I started researching for topics for today. Samurai Wallet. Have you ever heard of Samurai Wallet?
No, but I do now.
I know. Breaking news, and this was 3:15 p.m. yesterday. Breaking news. The Justice Department has charged and arrested the Samurai Wallet co-founders with conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business, and the website has been seized. That we saw when FTX and Celsius and all them places went down. Can you see that? Look, the website has been seized, and it's got the DOJ and all that down there. So this domain has been seized in accordance with seizure warrant issued pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 981, 18 U.S.C. 982, 21 U.S.C. 853, issued by the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York as part of a joint law enforcement operation in action. So when I go to Samurai Wallet is one of those wallets that keeps your transactions private, your identity masks, and your funds secured. And they have about 50,000 followers on their Twitter. And it looks like they have a pinned tweet from January 23rd. In October, we asked our attorneys to assemble an expert legal team to respond to FinCEN's proposed rules that would effectively ban Bitcoin privacy best practices, such as not reusing addresses and CoinJoin. It kind of sounds like the tornado
it's crazy
stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, like they're trying to give privacy, and the government's like, we're not letting you have privacy. No. We want to know everything that you do. We want complete and full autonomy to seize your shit, and this is the government doing that. And again, seizing a wallet.
This is freedom.
Seizing a wallet. But they cannot seize the blockchain of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin being the main one. So, like, people see this and they're like, oh, they're going to take my Bitcoin. Oh, they're going to seize my Bitcoin. No, when you have your Bitcoin and you own the private keys, they cannot seize that. They can seize the wallets. They can seize the exchanges. And this is the government, doing government things.
I would argue that this is freedom of speech. Like code, like it's all it is code. Like people are developing code and they're stifling that innovation, right? I just think that's just not ideal, right?
The Biden administration has time and time again shown that they do not give a shit about privacy, They do not give a shit about you getting your finances in order. They want you to be poor, own nothing, and be happy. They are 100% aligned with the WEF's mission statement, and they are puppets of the real global elites who really own things. And Biden is the perfect puppet because the dude is falling asleep on stage. I guess last night he was giving a speech and he read pause on the teleprompter. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but like this dude is not even coherent enough to read the teleprompter properly and not like look like a complete asshole when he's speaking. And this is the dude that's the leader of our country. Like whether you like him or not, he's our president. Like he still is. You live in this country, he's your president. People can say not my president, and it's just stupid to say. Like he is. Like even when Trump was president, he's not. No, he was. He's the leader. He's the leader of our country at this time. Hopefully he's not in 2024. And I don't want the other guy either, but like this is what we got. Like you got two piles of shit. Which one smells the least worst of the two piles of shit that we have? And that's what we have as this country. And it's like it's a joke. It's a complete joke. Like our economy is just cratering. And it's a result of both of the two people that we have as options in November. It's not just the guy that we have now. I mean, he made it much worse, but it started under the other guy. And like, here we are ready to like do this all over again with one of these two guys again and hope that things get better. Yeah. And it's like, if you're not looking for an alternative option to this just shit show clown world that we're in, like, I don't know what to tell you.
I think the alternative option is just leaving the country. But it's so hard, especially with people with families.
But you say that, and I don't really think that that's
it's sustainable
because the United States is the cursor for everything. Like the global economy is dictated by what happens here. So wherever you go, you're still going to be impacted by what happens here. Yeah. So if this doesn't get fixed, it ripples across the global economy. Yeah. So no matter where you go, you're not safe. Yeah. Unless somebody else takes the throne, which it's probably not patriotic to say so, but is it awful if somebody else did and did it better? No, because we're doing an awful job. Yeah. We are doing an absolutely awful job at this like ringleading stuff. Like we did great for a couple of decades, 50, 60, 70, like things were good. We were with things, but there's a legitimate argument to be stated that the United States is doing an awful job of leading. The global economy is not in a good place, and it's because of us. Yeah. So, like, you're like, oh, people are worried about somebody else taking over. It's like, are they going to do a worse job than we're doing?
I don't think you can do much worse.
I mean, how we're running a deficit of like $1 trillion, adding to that deficit every 100 days, and we're paying 1.1 trillion a year just in interest. It's not sustainable. Like we cannot sustain that. Yeah. So like, how does it look for all these other countries? And they're looking to us to be the leader, and we're just royally screwing this up. If I'm another country, I am actively looking at ways to bypass us as the global world reserve currency and to take control of the reins, because we are the guys at the bar looking for another drink, and we're way beyond our threshold of intoxication, and the bartender's like, we can't serve you another one, and we're like, give me another beer. That's where we're at. And somebody else is trying to get an Uber for this guy because this guy's a mess. Get him out of here. Get somebody else in here because this dude is a intoxicated mess, screwing it up for everybody else. Starting fights in the bar. You know what I mean? Nobody can do business in here because this drunk asshole's in here, carrying on.
And to be completely clear, that's America you're talking about as a drunk asshole.
100%, man. And it's like it's unpatriotic to say that and to think that, but like at some point somebody has to be the adult in the room and say like, how can we keep carrying on like this? If we are not going to provide options that are going to at least like put the Band-Aid on and sew this thing up and stop the bleeding, then maybe it's time for somebody else to take over. Yeah. Who's that going to be? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying this is a pro-Russia statement, a pro-China statement. I'm not saying that in any stretch of the means. I'm saying that the way that we are operating right now as a country in the United States is not good for the world, definitely not good for our citizens. And it's just like you keep doing the same thing over and over. That's insanity. Yeah. Something has to change. Either we change it here, which doesn't look like we have any intention or desire to do so. Maybe somebody else needs to step up and do it for us.
Maybe you.
I'm saying another global superpower needs to step up and change things, because we're just not mature enough at this point to
I think
make
that's,
those
that's
types
already
of
happening in real time.
decisions. It's trying. Like
Yeah.
we're seeing it with BRICS. We're seeing it with like these other countries making moves that they haven't made in a long time to try to disalign themselves from us. And it's unfortunate for them, and maybe even long term unfortunate for us. It's just not a very easy process,
Yeah.
and it's just like no matter what people tell you, the global trade is still overwhelmingly in the United States dollar. Something like 65 to 70% is still in U.S. dollar, which is a lot. So to get something else, I mean, even like for Bitcoin to be that global like it's just we're so far away from that.
Yeah.
We're just so far
Especially
away from
coming
that.
from the Bitcoin maxi, you're even saying that as a
Well, because I'm a realist. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna hear other Bitcoin maxis that will tell you that, and we're gonna get $1 million
think
before
it
the end of
well, I think it
2024.
happens in our lifetime.
24.
I think we'll.
I'm not as optimistic.
Yeah,
I'm not as
that's
optimistic.
crazy because I'm not the Bitcoin maxi, and I still believe that.
Because you look and see like how much of a stranglehold that these bad actors have on this country right now. And this country, like I said, like we're the leading indicator for the world, and we just don't have anybody on either side of our politics willing to step up and to make hard decisions to change things. And it's only getting worse. It's not getting better. So I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see things happening. I mean, when we say my lifetime, like we're talking like the next 30,
You got another
30 years, like your lifetime potentially, like the next 50 years, maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm jealous that I won't be able to see how this thing looks when we get to that last epoch, when the halvings are like done and it's like no more Satoshis are being.
You'll know.
No, I mean, it's 120 years from now, so I'll be long gone by then. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how it looks when like one Satoshi, that last block, is what miners are fighting over,
Yeah.
and like how much that's worth, and just like how crazy.
Millions.
Like people just don't understand. If Bitcoin doesn't go to zero, it just goes to just infinity.
Yeah.
Because if they're still mining blocks 100 years from now, the amount that like Satoshis have to be worth is just, it's not a number that you can wrap your head around today.
Yeah.
So like when I say that I'm stacking for like the future lineage of my family, it's like that's a legitimately like real statement that I'm making, because like 60,000, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 a Bitcoin is like nothing in future dollar value, because like when they're mining a block of like 500,000 Satoshis, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
500 sats for a block that they're fighting over for miners to be profitable.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the buying power of that? And again, we're pricing it in USD because that's the value that we have. And again, I want to talk about this real quick. It just reminded me of something because we were in a group chat, and
Yeah,
I tried to.
I knew you were.
I tried to do and I'm an old guy that's not good with tech, and we were having this conversation about like pricing, pricing things in USD, and like the value of like always coming back to things being priced in dollars. And I was pushing back on that argument, and it's like, yeah, that's like you're pricing Bitcoin, or you're pricing whatever shitcoin that we're talking about in US dollars, but like it's really the buying power of those dollars. And not everything is priced in US dollars. And what I was trying to point to, and hopefully we can clip this and send this to our group chat, because I was unable to get my point across in this, but like you price things in ideology. And the example I was giving was diamonds. Okay? Because diamonds have a USD price in the United States that's much higher than anywhere else in the world, right? If you go and buy your girl a $10,000 diamond and spend $10,000 United States on that here, that same diamond, you can go to other parts of the world, that might be a $400 diamond. But the ideology that we have here makes it 10K here. The ideology of where you go somewhere else will make it 400. So it's not necessarily worth 10,000. It's not necessarily worth 400. It's the ideology that brings it value. So when we're talking about Bitcoin, you're talking about Bitcoin being priced at $63,000. But the ideology of Bitcoin is not $63,000. The ideology of Bitcoin, when you think of it in forward terms, The buying power in the future is going to be way more than what the buying power is of right now. That buying power is exponentially increasing, but we're just pricing it in USD. And the guy in our chat, I'm not going to dox him, that is like stuck in the fiat maxi mindset, doesn't allow him to break from that and see that. And again, even if we use Bitcoin, it's a little bit, and I said in the chat, like the diamond isn't a perfect example. It's a flawed example. But even using Bitcoin, like Bitcoin is priced differently in the world as well. It's just different currencies. But then you tie it all back to the main one, which is the US dollar. But some people are paying a premium for Bitcoin because they view it ideology. How do you say that? Ideologically, they view it differently, which gives it a different value. So yes, the way we keep score is United States dollar. When you look on the exchange, it says it's worth 62,700 right now in this moment in United States dollars. But the ideology of it gives it a different price. And when you take goods and services, the USD value is worth different in different parts of the world based on how you ideologically view it. So the dollar is how we keep score, but that dollar price is not married to that asset. And like I said, diamonds is a good example because diamonds are way overpriced here in this country than many other parts of the world. That $10,000 diamond is definitely nowhere near that in other places of the world. So is it really worth 10,000 or is it really worth 400? Or does it matter?
Yeah, that was a really good example.
So like I was trying to do it. I had just gotten out of the shower and like I was in the shower like and just thinking of it all, and then I came out and I did like a 5-minute thing, and then I realized I erased it. I'm like,
well,
oh,
yeah, you have to like keep it, because you sent a really good verbal example, but yeah, that I completely understand. Yeah.
So it's hard because like, and again, me and Troy are in this chat with like how many guys?
20 guys.
20 guys.
Defion's chat.
Defion's chat.
Just a call to action. If you guys are interested in joining our exclusive private community, all you have to do is message us the word community, and we'll send you over the link. Very valuable insights. Guys, this is like the lifetime opportunity. I've been in a lot of group chats. Don't get me wrong. There's a few good ones, but a majority of it is trash. And we do like a lot of like real-time information updates on the market, what's going on in the macroeconomic. So, like I said, just give us a message, and we'll be more than happy to send over the link.
And if you want to get more behind-the-scenes insight into how I think, because like I said, I'm in this group chat with 20 bright minds that I would take over almost anyone out there when we're talking about finance. Like these guys are forward-thinking. They understand things on a higher level. And even then, in that chat, it's still hard for some of these guys to divorce themselves from the fiat mindset. They're still stuck in that fiat mindset matrix, which I've even said, like, it's a very difficult thing to break because it's indoctrinated into each and every one of us. And then when we leave the group chat, when we leave this podcast and I go out into the real world, I'm forced to engage in the fiat system. So I have to have some of a fiat mindset because I'm still working in a world where things are priced in dollars. But with my assets, I'm not so concerned with the USD value of it. I'm concerned with what the future buying power is going to be, and I'm not necessarily convinced that's still going to be USD. So being a fiat maxi is detrimental to me getting things that are extremely important and never getting rid of them.
I would say I'm a crypto maxi. I think I'm going to gear away from the altcoin maxi and be more of a Bitcoin, or not a Bitcoin maxi, not yet, but a crypto maxi, because 95% of my net worth is in cryptocurrency. And when I say cryptocurrency, I'm not just talking about Bitcoin and altcoins and meme coins. I'm talking about stable coins, right? Because they're valued in fiat. It's tokenized fiat money on chain. Now, again, like you just said, we're forced to engage in activities where we have to pay in fiat money, like bills. We have, expenses. We want to go golfing. We pay in fiat, right? So that's where I have that 5%. Where it's paying my rent, it's paying for the golf course, it's paying for all these activities and bills so I could live in the real world. But I don't want to live in the real world. I want to live in the future. I want to live and engage in where the world's headed and be more forward thinking. And that's where I have a lot of my value stored in a stable coin. I have a lot of my value stored in Bitcoin, Ethereum. And then once I have crypto assets that I invest in that are, tech, like companies, AI, gaming, crypto gaming, and stuff, and real world assets, where I'm increasing my value to convert that value into Bitcoin or convert that value into my stablecoin. So I just wanted to add that point there. And I was never, if 3 years ago, looking back, if I told myself I had 95% of my net worth in crypto, I would think I was fucking insane. Insane. But that's just once the light bulb goes off, you'll realize like there's no going back. You know, once you fully engage and understand this, it's really hard to not be at least 50. Like I think Anthony Pomp is definitely over 50% of his net worth is in crypto, Bitcoin. So like more as the light bulb goes off and more people understand this, I think a lot of people's net worths are going to increase and their percentage increase into this asset class. I really do believe that.
The downfall or the risk is that the longer anyone, I'm not going to say you because it makes it like I'm just pointing it out to you, but anybody, the longer that people stay in the fiat mindset, the more it's going to be difficult to get to the Bitcoin mindset of how great of an asset it is, and that you're going to want to have less and less of your value tied to fiat and more of your value tied to Bitcoin. It's an extremely difficult journey. Again, I've said it, the first 5 years I spent in this ecosystem from 2000 and let's say I got December 13, so let's just for math say 14. So from 14 to the end of 19 into 20,
you've been in here for a decade.
I was not a maxi.
Yeah.
I owned,
it's a process.
I owned
It
shit
is.
coins.
Yeah.
I sold Bitcoin to fiat. I mean, it took until 2020 for the light bulb to completely go off for me to really understand completely what I was engaged in and what I had stumbled across and what I was saving, and that the only thing that exists that's going to give me a chance is Bitcoin, and that I have to make peace with the fact that I'm accumulating something that I'm never going to realize the real world fiat value that I engage in. I'm never going to realize that potentially in my lifetime, and unless the products come along that allow me to leverage it in a safe way and take loans off it. That's another conversation. But like selling out of the asset is not happening.
And what's another pro of doing that? You don't
another
have to
pro
pay.
of doing what?
You won't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, avoiding the taxes and just paying whatever the interest is. But that's, I mean, I don't want to get too far down that. But like the fact that I will only accumulate and never sell is extremely difficult for people to accept, because investing by nature is profit driven. So you're eliminating profit when you're acquiring this asset. You're not looking to make, I'm not looking to buy at 63 and to sell at 163.
And I think
I'm looking to buy at 63 and be worth a shit ton of whatever you want to value it in at some point in time, because I have enough of it where it gives me options to still navigate whatever world of fiat or whatever world of global reserve currency we're operating in. Because when I have the best asset, I will be open to these other things because I have that to use to leverage.
Yeah. And too many people
if I choose so.
And too many people have that mindset of buying Bitcoin to sell it, to realize it in fiat money. You notice that. A lot of people in that chat, a lot of people in other groups, just a lot of people as a sentiment as a whole have that same ideology. And I think that has to be debunked. I think people have to.
We're too primitive.
Yeah.
We're too primitive. Listen, like I understand how the logic works. Like I'm going to sell at the top and then I'm going to buy back in at the bottom. Like, and guys in the chat are saying that. And like, I've done this a couple of times. You're not going to do it successfully. Yeah. It's too risky.
It's almost impossible.
So if you can get yourself to the place that I'm at where I can ride it up
and ride it back
and
down,
then ride it down 80% and not flinch, knowing that I'm doing it right because it's eventually going to go back up and I'm not taking the risk of getting out. So what I'm doing, instead of selling at the top, I'm adding when it goes down, I'm getting more in the lower part instead of trying to be a God trader and selling at the top and then waiting for the bottom, missing it, and then making my human emotion make me even compounding the mistakes that I'm making. So I just continue to add, never sell, watch it go down, not try to be a trader where I'm going to like, oh, let's see if we hit the top. Because, okay, let's say the top of this cycle is 250, right? And then it gets to be 225 and I sell, and then I see it go to 300, and I'm like, oh. I'm look at all. I don't think about the fact that I made that profit at 225 because that's how the human brain works. I'm not looking at the profit I made when I sold at 225. Now I'm going into the other side of all the 75,000 I lost. Mm-hmm. So now when it goes down, I'm trying to predict the bottom, and let's say I think the bottom's going to be 60, and I sell at 60, and then I see it go to 40. Mm-hmm. I don't think about the 225 to the 60 I made. I think about the 60 to the 40 because that's how the human brain works. Mm-hmm. And the human brain tricks you into making detrimental mistakes. So I eliminate that from any of it. I know that I'm never going to time the top. I know I'm never going to time the bottom. And I know my brain is going to force me to think only about what I didn't do instead of what I did successfully. So I eliminate all that out. Mm-hmm. And all I do is continue to add. I write it up. And I write it down, and I keep writing, and my satoshis keep increasing along the way. Mm. Now, if I did it successfully, selling top, selling bottom, will I have more? Of course. The odds of me doing that, super slim.
Yeah, and investing is
most likely I will end up with 0 Bitcoin, and I'll just say, I'm just going to keep the fiat. I'm done with this. I'm frustrated. Yeah. That could potentially occur, and then I miss out on the greatest generational wealth opportunity that my family will ever see, and I just eliminate that.
Yeah. No, that's a really good approach. So you have no exit strategy. It's mostly just buy. But of course you have like an exit strategy.
The exit strategy is I'm exiting out of the fiat system. Yeah. It's a continuous exit strategy. I'm accumulating the greatest asset to allow me to leverage this failing system that's going to make the greatest asset continue to increase its buying power and allow me opportunities and my family opportunities in the future that I would never have if I didn't own the asset. Mm-hmm.
No, I completely understand. Completely agree with that statement.
Now, the shit coins that I do have some exposure to will give me more short-term abilities in the fiat world to navigate because I still have bills and expenses and things that I'm doing that require that I don't have to sell any Bitcoin for, that will allow me to still navigate that on top of, the day job that I have and stuff like that. So those assets I hold no affinity for. I have no tie to. Mm-hmm. They are fiat-minded assets. And it just I don't want to say bother me. It just worries me that even the guys in our chat, in the Defiance chat, are going to fall risk to this cycle of making mistakes.
Trying to time the market, yeah.
Making mistakes that are going to cost them eventually, because I really do believe most of those guys, if not all, will eventually become Bitcoin maxis. If you stay in this long enough, you just realize having exposure to shit coins and realizing that they don't provide what you're looking for and that Bitcoin's the only thing that's going to provide what you're looking for. So eventually they'll get to that. Mm-hmm. Luckily for me, it happened in 1920 early enough where the price was still relatively cheap enough for me to still accumulate. For them, it's going to be at an astronomical price, and they're just going to be like, God damn it, I could have been a whole coiner. I could have been a whole coiner so long ago, and instead I accumulated all these shit coins, and now one coin's worth $1 million, and it's just like just accumulating. That's just takes so much effort.
And I have to add to that actually, because one thing I noticed about what you just said is you have a plan. You know what I mean? Your plan is you're exiting out of the fiat system, and you're not engaging in it. And you're not selling; you're just accumulating. Most people don't even have.
I'm still engaging in the fiat system, but just not with that part of my portfolio.
With a smaller, So but you have a plan. That's the most important thing. Most people come into this market, this asset class, with no plan, right? If you have no plan, you're just going to get wrecked, right? So that's important. That's step one. Before you even press the buy button and buy this asset, come up with a game plan, a systematic process, and then follow that plan. Because as soon as you gear off to the left and you don't follow that plan, you're going to lose money. Like, you're going to learn the hard way, and that's the goal of this podcast, is to educate people
100%,
on that so they don't fall into that trap and they can break free, and then they can start, accumulating. And if you want to trade and identify that. Make sure you know that when you're buying this coin, you're selling it, and you have a game plan for when you sell it. You're not just going to hold it and hope. We just made a video on it. You have to have a process when you engage.
Yep. So. All right, a couple more articles to go through before we end. The U.S. mortgage market is crashing hard, with mortgage applications to buy a house plummeting 14% from last year and now languishing at their lowest level since 1955. The housing market is frozen, and buyers aren't coming back until prices or rates drop. The only reason why I'm even talking about this is because we're sitting at around, let me get this up, I believe we're at around 7% for a 30-year mortgage. So let's look and see. Let me tell you exactly where we're at. Oh, Jesus, 7.3. Yeah, 7.3. So 30, yep, right there, 7.3. So 30-year fixed mortgages right now on Thursday, April 25th, according to bankrate.com, are 7.3%. The reason why that's so significant is because we found out in the last couple of weeks that we're probably not getting rate reduction this year. If the Fed was really doing their job correctly, we probably should go back to raising again because inflation is not stopping. Inflation is continuing. They didn't they stopped too early. They should have kept going. And so those people that are looking for or that would want to look for a house are just priced out of the market.
Yeah.
Housing prices have gone up too high. I mean, if you're looking for a $300,000 house and you got to go get a 7.3 mortgage with good credit, right? Now you may not have good credit, you might be at 8 or 9. Like it's unaffordable.
I just
unaffordable
seen an article that 40% of Americans have lost hope in the ability to buy a house one day. Most people are going to rent.
You're pricing a whole generation out of home ownership, which is it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And the other thing too is people are assuming that their net worth is a number that it's really not, because their home price has a value on Zillow that tells them that they have this asset until they go to the market to try to sell it. At some point when they're ready, there won't be buyers because they can't get the mortgage.
Yeah, there'll be no liquidity. Awesome.
One more article here. Dennis Porter, another good follow on Twitter. This one's a little bit longer, but I'll read it through. Huge breaking news. The state of Ohio has officially introduced a bill to protect fundamental Bitcoin rights. The right to buy and sell Bitcoin, the right to mine Bitcoin, the right to run a full node, the right to self-custody your digital assets. House Bill 406, sponsored by Steve for Ohio House, at Steve for Ohio House, was announced during the Ohio blockchain event yesterday. The event was organized by Andrew Birchwell and supported by Ledger and Stand With Crypto. We are thankful for the work of these organizations. More about the Ohio effort. Ohio marks the 16th state this year to introduce a bill to protect your right to access Bitcoin. But as the 7th most populous state in the nation, this introduction carries a significant weight with it. The significance of Ohio. The Buckeye State has been the bellwether state for 14 presidential election cycles spanning 6 decades, and this trend-setting state is now poised to protect your Bitcoin rights. Ohio has also positioned itself as a major player in the Bitcoin world, with companies like Standard Power and River is a really good Bitcoin-only company, calling the state home. Ohio needs your help. Given the size of the state and the work that will be required to make progress, I'm asking you to please double down your support for our work at Satoshi Act Fund. We will be directly working with lawmakers to ensure the safe passage of this bill. This effort will require significant bipartisan support in the state. This is a pivotal moment for Bitcoin and digital rights in Ohio. By backing this legislative effort, you contribute to a broader movement that champions the autonomy and rights of Bitcoin users, not just in Ohio, but nationwide. Join us in this critical mission. Every contribution counts. Thank you for those who have been along the way in 2024. We have more announcements coming. Your support and our work is what drives our ability to score points for Bitcoin. So Ohio, as this tweet is stating, is forward-thinking in regards to Bitcoin, and it seems like it's getting some of the biggest minds and players in Bitcoin to consider moving to Ohio, much like Texas has done, much like Florida has done. And River is a really good Bitcoin-only exchange. I watch a podcast almost daily that River sponsors, and it's just Bitcoin-only information. Usually it's between 30 and 40 minutes. Nick Bhatia is the guy that usually speaks on it. Really good, a lot of good information. And Ohio's a swing state for the election. So being pro-Bitcoin and getting bipartisan support for that, I think like this next election cycle and election cycles moving forward, I think Bitcoin and crypto is going to be more of a
topic of discussion.
And, there's a lot of voters that are going to be one-issue voters, and that one issue is going to be Bitcoin and crypto. So I think it's going to be very beneficial for people that are running campaigns in states like Ohio to take a stance and to take a pro stance and to not, be another Elizabeth Warren or, another Gary Gensler and have an anti-crypto, anti-Bitcoin view because, you just get ran. You're getting ran on social media when you have those types of viewpoints. Those are all the articles that I got. I don't know what else you wanna hit.
We're crunching down on our last minute thoughts here. We can do our last minute thoughts before we wrap this up. Yeah, this is a good session.
What are your last minute thoughts?
My last minute thoughts are hold through the turmoil, because like we just had a big topic is people are pricing everything in USD, right? You look at the Bitcoin price, it's down 4, and people are like, oh, it's down 4% today. These are the days where you have to stomach the drops and understand the best asset class on the world is on a discount, and look through the price, look through all that stuff, and just keep educating yourself and keep accumulating this asset. I think it's important to educate yourself before you go heavy in this asset class, because if you're not educated, don't have the conviction or the patience, you're just going to end up getting washed out of the market either way. So just hold tight, keep educating yourself, listen to podcasts. We have a free Discord where you guys can get access to, where we do updates, we do weekly calls, we do webinars, and I would love it for you guys to join in on that as a call to action. But that's really that. I think today was a really good topic of discussions. We talked a lot about, politics. We got into mining. We got into Bitcoin as a whole, and its value. And I think this was a productive combo.
Real quick, this is our last podcast in the studio.
Oh yeah.
We are moving to a brand new studio next week. So you're going to see a little bit of a different background. We'll keep the same vibe, but the background in the logistics in the background will be slightly different. So, we made the decision to come over to Emerge in October, and it's been probably the best decision we made for the podcast. So we're super excited about moving to the new location and showing you guys our setup over there. I got a new hat on today. Shout out to the NT Americans, my son's travel baseball team. The coaches were a little bit upset I was wearing the old travel one, and they said, you can't have you on the podcast rocking the old stuff. Got to get the new gear. So shout out to the new travel baseball team that my son's a part of. And again, I'm reiterating, jumping on the back of what Troy just said, the red days are the days to add. If you do not have the capital, or you're not yet ready to deploy capital, the next best thing you can do is learn. Watch podcasts. Hopefully you watch ours. If you don't want to watch ours, or you do watch ours and want to watch others, there's a lot of other good podcasts that you can watch. Gain as much information as possible. Information is power. Knowledge is power. Understanding this stuff is going to be detrimental to your and your family's navigation through this changing landscape of economic conditions, which are changing right before our eyes. 4 years ago, who would have thought that a presidential election would potentially be decided by talking about crypto, and even on not necessarily the presidential level, but congressional levels. There's congressional races literally being won and lost because of people's stances on Bitcoin and crypto. Definitely at local levels. You have places like Florida, places like Ohio, like we just talked about. There's a place in Mississippi. There's a lot of different places that are embracing Bitcoin and crypto and only doing it because they recognize where things are going. You may not believe it because you see a price of $63,000, which represents more than a family of four is making in this country at this point. But believe me, you are still early. This stuff is still early. Yeah. You are not too late. It's never too late to get something that is the best asset that's ever created, even if you can only get a small piece of it, a small chunk of it. Start somewhere, start learning. And as always, for the last time at Emerge, at this studio, don't trust, verify. Peace.